2 News Oklahoma starts right now.
Heavy snow, sleet, ice, plummeting temperatures. We're seeing all of those across Green Country today. We do have teams all across the area as a part of our commitment to keep you safe. From Veneta and Bartlesville to Owasso and Jinx and right here in Tulsa, 2 News is there. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Naomi Kitt. Aaron is off. We will check in with our team soon, but first we'll send it over to Chief Meteorologist Michael Sager.
Keeping an eye on that snow that continues to fall across Green Country. It has been at times heavy, but a lot of times fairly light to moderate. And as we look here at dual Doppler, still a lot of light to moderate snow showing up here. And you can see those blues where that snow is coming down a little bit heavier compared to the areas where we've got the whites showing up. But we had a pretty good batch of heavier snow come right across Tulsa within about the last hour, couple hours or so. That continues to push here off to the east. Now you're seeing some of that here back near Choteau and Wagner, northern portions here of Cherokee County. As we pan a little farther to the south, pretty quiet right now as you get south of I-40. Still kind of a wintry mix far southeast Oklahoma, but we'll likely see eventually this evening some snow into southeast Oklahoma as well, although it has been mostly quiet down there throughout much of the day. Here's the view right now from the Renaissance Hotel camera on the Wade's RV Weather Camera Network. Highway 169 certainly is snow covered at the moment. And again, if you don't have to head out, certainly stay inside. Plus, when you step outside, those wind chill values are getting quite low and into the dangerous levels. But if for those of you that do have to go out, and a lot of us do, you have to work, you have to go out, just make sure you allow a little extra time to do that. Updated for the snowfall totals here. Again, have had to drop these numbers off as we've gone through the day today. 4 to 8 inches for those to the north and to the east. Lesser amounts as you go farther to the south. Highest snowfall total today that's come in so far has actually been in Owasso at 4 inches of snow. How about that? Temperatures are currently single digits to near 10 degrees along and north of I-44 and in a little bit warmer, relatively speaking, as you go farther to the south and to the east. That cold air continues to push south. Again, that's the temperatures. Factor in the wind. Look at the wind chill right now. 10 below zero in Tulsa. Snow will continue through the evening hours, but as we head toward midnight tonight, the snow will be moving out, and then it's going to be the dangerous cold as we head through the rest of the week. We'll break down how cold it's looking and how many records we might break, too, coming up in about 10 more minutes.
Michael, thank you. Our live team coverage continues now with 2 News anchor Julie Chin. She's braving the elements for us tonight in Jinx. Police there have asked people to stay home. Julie, you're finding that most people have heeded that warning.
That's right, Naomi. Thankfully, they have. We have been measuring the snow out here. I have my trusty yardstick out here. And the good news is, even though we have about 2.5 inches of snow, there's all that ice underneath it. That's the problem for drivers. They're running into slippery conditions all across the Jinx area. You can see the Jinx Bridge behind me. We've been watching drivers kind of come across that bridge today. They have been spinning out a little bit. And we have come across drivers in the Jinx area who have had even bigger problems. Check out this video. This is a flatbed truck that was going on West 91st Street, and it just couldn't make it up the hill. So it needed to call up some help, and there was actually a truck ahead of it trying to pull it up the hill. Those are the kind of conditions that people are finding here in Jinx. So again, like police are saying, if you don't have to go out, you certainly don't want to. Crews have been out since 6 o'clock this morning treating the roads, but it's kind of a 3-priority system that they have here in Jinx. So they're still on the first priority, trying to treat those bridges and overpasses, and they're going to be continuing to work to clear the roads and to keep everybody safe. A lot going on here in Jinx, but I know a lot going on in Bartlesville as well. That's where we find our Braden Bates. Braden?
Julie, it is very, very cold here in Bartlesville. As you all know, this wind has been blowing throughout the morning, but I wanted to show you this is a big snow mound that has been collected by the crews here in Bartlesville. They have several of these throughout the streets, and we are seeing as the streets are fairly clear at the moment, there is still snow on it, and still it's important to take those safety precautions, but it is extremely cold here. So I actually just wanted to take a moment to champion a local organization who has created a warming shelter right here in Bartlesville.
Well, like today, it's minus 15 degrees with the wind, and so that's death. And so We just love giving back to our community because community gives back to us so much.
Keith McVeigh with Be the Light mission says they had 24 people stay in their warming shelter last night and welcome not only people but also pets. They tell me they'll be open until Saturday morning. This is the only warming shelter here in Bartlesville, and so they have everything from food, clothes, shelter. Please brave the elements. Do not brave the elements and go into warming shelters just like this. Naomi?
Braden, glad that they have that warming shelter for people there. Thank you. And as the snow continues to fall across the area, we're keeping a close eye on treacherous road conditions. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol had to shut down a portion of Highway 75. It was closed for about 3 hours today. 2 News Oklahoma's Brody Myers is live in Okmulgee County for us tonight in the Rain Tech Roofing Weather Chaser. Brody, what are you seeing right now?
Naomi, it seems that Okmulgee has avoided some of the worst of the snow, thank goodness, but the roads have been pretty icy. There is that nice coat of ice like Julie was talking about over in Jinx under these roads, so it is pretty slippery. The side roads, not great. Going to show you right now, we are driving downtown Okmulgee, and there is kind of that thin coat of snow on the ground, but a little bit of an ice as well below it. A few folks are out. You can maybe see that gentleman up there on the left of your screen. He is trying to get some ice off his windshield. Know the pain that comes with that, and no thank you. But I spoke with emergency management here in Okmulgee County. They say they have had no major injuries so far. They did have a couple of wrecks. That's the one that shut down Highway 75. But news is pretty good here in Okmulgee, all things considered, because folks are just staying home. I'm Brody Myers in the Rain Tech Roofing Weather Chaser. Meanwhile, I'm going to send it over to my friend Kathy Tatum in Broken Arrow. Kath, what can you tell us?
Hey, Brody, I can tell you that it is snowing here, relentlessly snowing here. We have probably about 2 inches of snow on the ground, but the wind and the snow won't give up. And as a result, we're here in the Rose District, and normally, you'd see a whole bunch of people out here at this time of night shopping and going to restaurants, but right now it's a ghost town. And as ice and snow blankets everything, including roads, visibility worsening, Broken Arrow sand and salt crews are fighting back. They're working hard to scrape and treat main arteries to keep them passable. Over at the Public Safety Center, this classroom is set up to be a warming shelter for anyone in need. Now, they tell me BA typically doesn't have a lot of people needing shelter, but the city wants you to know if you lose power during this freeze, you can shelter here. Outside, as snow piles up, so do the calls at the fire department. This morning, Battalion Chief Russell Schaefer told me they handled twice as many calls as in a typical day. To put that in perspective, they had 20 calls by 10 a.m. this morning. Now, to help out, they've called in extra crews to man the department's brush trucks. Those have mud and snow tires that get much better traction in icy conditions than the big fire engines outfitted with chains.
These are mud and snow tires, so it's a heavier tread, and it has places for the snow and ice to get out. Don't get me wrong, nothing does well on ice, but they're going to do better than a heavy engine.
Now, the brush trucks mainly go out with ambulance calls since they can get to places quicker than those big, heavy fire engines. In Broken Arrow, I'm Kathy Tatum, 2 News Oklahoma.
Kathy, thank you. We have crews spread out all across Green Country. We'll head to Owasso now. That's where 2 News Oklahoma's Samson Tamajani is live checking out the roads there. Samson, tell us what you've seen so far around town.
Well, Naomi, Michael Sager, chief meteorologist, he's chief for a reason. He was not lying when he's telling us the snow totals are the most here in Owasso. The visibility is around a quarter mile because the snow wind has just been picking up all day. I was about to say that we had a small rest of how hard the snow was hitting just a minute ago, but it has picked up again. It is dangerous to walk on the sidewalks, let alone go out on the roads here, even with all the snow plows. Take a look at some of the video we got earlier on Highway 169. Cars were taking it easy and maintaining space, which is exactly what you got to do in these conditions, although they have worsened. Most city works have closed down today. City Hall closed this morning. The community center is closed too. Police are asking folks in smaller cars to avoid heading onto roads. And frankly, you can't see most roads at this point anyway. The snow just keeps hitting. At Riola Park, though, this morning, we did find a young family who brought their snow-loving daughter to the playground bundled up for about a half hour.
She was just tired of being inside. She seen snow. She was like, snow! So she just wanted to go play out, but
So we brought her to the big park just to play in the snow.
As long as you can, I guess, right?
Yeah,
before it definitely gets worse out.
Yeah, it's getting
real
bad.
cold.
They told me they are huddling inside the rest of the day, and this afternoon we have not seen anyone else walking outside either, except at gas stations, Walmart, or the Lowe's parking lot. The main update here, though, is do not drive if you do not need to, because, as mentioned, the snow keeps piling, the snow totals keep piling on here. We'll be right back. In Owasso, Samson Tamajani, 2 News, Oklahoma.
Your first forecast, sponsored by Burgraff Disaster Restoration.
You're watching 2 News Oklahoma, part of the Scripps News Group.
Some of our northern counties have been gearing up for the worst of the storm. Michael told us at the top of the hour the latest data shows there's a potential of 4 to 8 inches of snow in those areas. 2 News Oklahoma's Steph Mangian has been monitoring conditions for us in the Veneta area. Steph, tell us a little bit of what you've seen today and how it's evolved.
Yeah, Naomi, Veneta has taken a pretty direct hit from this winter storm. From the start of today, the snow just has not stopped. It's been coming down all day long, been pretty relentless, and that blanket of snow has just continued to grow with every minute, and the roads just keep getting covered. And you can feel the temperature starting to drop. We talked a little bit about that earlier this morning, that we were just going to keep getting colder. And we started today in Veneta at about 16 degrees around noon, and we're down to about 13. So let's talk about what we've seen today. Starting in the morning, freezing rain brought icy roads, but most drivers were taking it slow. That was the main concern. But the good news is not many cars were out on the road, so people were taking those warnings. City Hall, Veneta schools, and many businesses around town have closed down. I was able to speak with the chief of police, Mark Johnson, earlier today. He is echoing the warning that the less cars out on the roads, the better.
We have not had a wreck called in for us yet today, but with Highway Patrol, because we're a turnpike entrance, Highway Patrol has been running nonstop. I mean, they haven't quit. They've gone to one wreck after the other.
Chief Johnson mentioned anyone getting in an accident is being taken to warming shelters around town to make sure they're out of the cold. So that's what we've got going on here in Veneta right now. Now sending it over to Claremore, where we find 2 News Oklahoma's Clifton Haskin. And tell us a little bit about what you've seen today, Clifton.
Well, Steph, the snow here in Claremore has been constant all day long. It was blowing in my face earlier today, and it is blowing in my face now. If you look over my shoulder here, these roads are still just getting covered in snow and ice. And this is still with plenty of snow plows that I've seen coming through here. The visibility is pretty poor, but I would not recommend going outside at all today. I spoke to the city manager, John Ferry. He tells me that the snow plows are going to be out here all 24 hours for the next few days. They're going to be focusing on side streets and bridges to get all this snow cleared. While I was driving around today, I ran into Ethan Lewis enjoying the snow with his kids. Lewis tells me he's making the best out of this snowstorm.
Yeah, definitely staying inside because it's really cold, but gonna come outside a little bit, whenever we can, but it's freezing.
Too. And Lewis tells me that he is planning to stay inside as long as he can and until things warm up. Out here in Claremore, Clifton Haskin, 2 News Oklahoma.
Clifton, thank you. It looks brutal out there. That snow started this afternoon. Many people wondering, when is it going to let up?
Yeah, the snow will come to an end tonight, and then we're going to be stuck with the dangerously cold conditions. You can already feel it outside right now. Wind chills are dropping below 0, but those wind chills are going to go even lower as we head into tomorrow morning. And we'll be talking about some record cold on the way as well through the middle and end of the week. Jumping here into Dual Doppler, let's track some of that snow. Again, mostly light snow at the moment in Tulsa, where we've got some of these darker shades of blue showing up. That's more moderate to at times heavier snow. Did have a heavier snowburst come right across the metro earlier this afternoon, but fairly steady snow here from Chelsea, Veneta, back over to around Grove and Grand Lake, and even back into around Claremore. Another band looks like it's trying to fill in here just to the north and west of downtown Tulsa, and we're seeing some steadier snow here back to around Bristow as well. well, seeing some of that snow expand a little farther to the south into Okmulgee. And again, it'll take a little while for this to move out this evening. And after it does, most of us will end up in the 4 to 8 inch range across far northeastern portions of the region. Maybe a lot of us in the lower end of that. And then, of course, as we go farther to the south, those totals will taper off, probably looking at about 3 to 5 inches over most of the metro. Lower amounts, though, for those of you to the south. And here's the view right now from Shangri-La Resort. You can see the snow coming down here. And it's not just, again, the snow that's coming down as far as the amounts are concerned, but it's also the impacts that this snow will bring. And meteorologist Brandon Woolley looking at some of the impacts that we're dealing with and some of the record cold that we're looking at through the end of the week. Brandon?
That is right, Michael. You can see those impacts into the high stage there for cold temperatures lasting over the next couple of days. The snow totals the most amount of snow with this system off towards the north and northeast. Ice and possible road closures there into the medium stage. Now, approximately probably 110 hours below freezing, below 32 degrees. We started that yesterday evening, and probably not rising to above freezing until late Saturday morning. And we could be shattering those record low temperatures coming up probably for Thursday and Friday. Daytime highs as well, shattering those for Wednesday and Thursday. So starting with that tomorrow, and then probably it's high on Friday. Michael?
Yeah, it is going to be cold. I mean, it can get cold this time of year, but and you look at the dates, we're going to see some of the coldest numbers that have ever been recorded for those dates. That's impressive. 8 degrees right now, the temperature in Tulsa with some light snow coming down. The high temperature, by the way, today, 27. That was after midnight. It has been dropping since that point. And look at the wind chills into tomorrow morning. And this is one of the bigger concerns for us. Of course, we've been talking about the ice and the snow, but the cold can really be a danger as well. You don't want to get stuck outside with wind chills this cold. 10 to 20 below zero for a lot of us into tomorrow morning, with temperatures down into the single digits. And those temperatures will struggle tomorrow afternoon. And with the north wind, it'll feel even colder. Look at those highs holding for the most part low to mid teens, maybe some upper teens to lower 20s as you go farther to the south and to the east. But at least by tomorrow, the snow will be done with, but it might take a while for us to completely thaw out. But we will thaw out. And look at this jump in temperatures. Brandon was talking about if we hold at 28 degrees for the high on Friday, that's a record cold high temperature for the date. And then look what happens through the week, and that temperature will come up. We'll have the help of a southerly breeze, sunshine in the forecast, so expect some melting as we go through the weekend. And high temperatures early next week could push the 70-degree mark. So a big turnaround from the cold that we're going to be dealing with here to finish out the week. We'll get another update on dual Doppler with the snow coming down in a few more minutes.
Tulsa is experiencing the coldest air of the season so far. It shows just how important warming centers are. 2 News Oklahoma's Isabel Flores compiled a list of them right here in Tulsa and joins us live tonight from John 3:16 Mission. Isabel?
Well, that's right, Naomi. And you know what? It's getting colder out here. It's nearing 10 degrees here in Tulsa. And I'm actually right here at the John 3:16 Mission where, capacity is only about 182 people, but they expect to have about 250 people coming in today. So they're saying that, again, they're going to try and keep as many people as they can and communicate with other shelters in the area to make sure that they can take in as many people. And some of those include the Salvation Army, the Tulsa Day Center, the Youth Services of Tulsa, One Hope, and of course the Tulsa Dream Center. So stay tuned. We'll give you more information on how to get in contact with them. But for now, I'm Isabel Flores in Tulsa with 2 News Oklahoma.
Still tracking some snow out there, light to moderate snow mostly at the moment. We got some of those shades of blue. That's where we have more moderate snow, lighter elsewhere. And of course, zooming out just a bit more, those of you south and east that have most been dealing with a mix throughout the afternoon, you will eventually get a little snow out of this as well. So again, the snow will continue the evening hours. If you don't have to head out, just stay inside. Along with that, it's just dangerously cold out there. But we're going to have another update coming up at 6 o'clock. Be warm and be safe.
Monitoring those road conditions as well. We'll check back in with you at 6.